Shalom and welcome. This week's Torah portion is Terumah, gifts. At the very beginning, Moses tells the people that God has commanded that they bring God gifts. And pretty much the rest of the entire Torah portion is related to what those gifts are and how they're to be used, for what and how it's to be built. And there are dimensions given and instructions given. And we're led to believe by the Torah that this is Moses who is telling the people all of this from his memory of what he was told on Sinai. And that very well may have been the case. But what we don't know is the very human part of this. How did all of this happen? We have a large number of people camped in an area. Moses knows he's going to have to tell the people what God has commanded. And we know, deep in our own hearts and our own minds, that there must have been some planning for this. Well, it could have possibly gone this way. We find Moses, Aaron, and Miriam sitting together, and Moses is telling them a little advanced warning of what's about to happen. Moses tells them, look, God told me to gather all of this material, and believe me, there's going to be a lot of this stuff. And it's going to take us a while to deal with this and to build all these things that God has. We're supposed to build a sanctuary for God. And it's going to have grandiose things and a lot of gold and silver everywhere. But we have some issues that we have to deal with. Aaron, go and get Joshua. I have an idea. So Aaron goes out and gets Joshua, and Joshua joins this happy little group. And Moses goes on. Okay, there's going to be a lot of stuff. We're going to need a place where the people can bring their contributions, their gifts. And it's going to have to be large enough to accommodate all of the things that they're going to bring. And I hate to think this, but there might be those among us who become jealous of this large amount of stuff and might like to appropriate for their own use just a little piece of this or that. So it might become necessary for us to put guards around this stuff. That's where Joshua comes. Joshua, that's where you come in. I want you to find a place. Then I want you to get 2 people from among the leaders of each of the tribes, including the Levites. And these people shall become the guards and the caretakers of this amassed amount of stuff. That way, we can tell the people that all the tribes are represented in keeping order here. And that we need to post guards because the people wandering around the area may get hint of this and we will have to protect it. Now I would suggest that this area that we put all this stuff be toward the middle of the camp so that we can protect it even better. Can you do that, Joshua? Well, of course I can, Moses. I arranged the troops and everything else. The people already trust me for this kind of thing. Okay, very good. Now, we're going to have some people who can keep records. We're going to be collecting a lot of very valuable things, sometimes some rare things. So, Aaron, we need to find the people who in Egypt were keeping the books for the estates. I know there's a bunch of them out there. We need to put together a group of a dozen, maybe, so that there's always somebody who can keep the official record. We need to keep a record of what was contributed and then how it was used. And if there was any scrap left over, how that was disposed of. Because we must have everything up and up, because this is a holy project. So Aaron, if you could take care of that part of it. Let me see, we've taken care of where to put it and how to guard it, and now we're taking care of how to keep track of it. Am I missing anything? And Miriam pipes up. Moses, who is going to actually do the work? God hasn't said yet who is going to do the work, but God has indicated what the work will be. So that's for you, Miriam. That's what you need to do. Find some people who are among the artists who can make drawings of the various things we're going to have to build, so that the artisans could take the drawings and see what is supposed to be done, and then they can apply their skill to actually creating these items. Now, I've been plagued by these visions of all of this stuff, and I've actually tried to sketch some of this out. And like I was telling God about my speech not being so good, my concept of drawing tends to be not quite so good either, but it's a start. So Miriam, if you could go among the people and find a number of artists who could take being told what something looks like and then render it on a drawing, that would be a big help. So everybody departs on their task, and they get together the next day. And Joshua reports that he has selected the people, and they're anxious to get started. They realize the responsibility of guarding these precious items. And Aaron reports that he found people who can be trusted to keep the account of what's being done. And Miriam comes back all excited. She's found both some men and some women who are really wonderful artists who can take something verbal and draw it out. And the drawings are beautiful. They look exactly like what is being talked about. And Moses says, "Oh, I feel so much better about all of this. So now tomorrow morning, I will go before the people and tell them what God has commanded." So the next morning, Moses goes out and he gathers all the people around in this central area that's been cleared away, and he begins to tell the people that God has commanded that we build a sanctuary. Hear God's words. God spoke to me, and he said, tell the people to bring me gifts that I may build a sanctuary among them. And these are the gifts that you shall bring: gold and silver and copper. And he continues on and on. And the text of this speech, the text of these commands, is what we have in our Torah portion of Terumah. But now we have a little idea of how the practical aspects of this might have been taken care of. Shalom